Yeah, so good evening. I'm Louisa Teichmann. I'm Rotterdam-based. I'm a media artist, but I've mostly been working on location-based games. Today I'm going to be talking about the potentials and dangers of gamifying the public IoT. First, I wanted to start talking about this idea of a mirror world and why it interested me. Then I'm going to give some examples of some location-based projects that I've been working on. And lately, like this year, I've been starting to integrate LoRaWAN and LoRa technologies in my games. And then I started to get more into the research on where this ideal of the mirror world came from and how the technology functions. And I'm going to share my vision on what would happen if it would be gamified. And yeah, so kind of discussing the potentials and dangers of that. So when I was a kid, I was a sleepwalker. So I would be moving through my parents' basement with no fear. I'd be moving around, and I'd be, of course, I would never remember, but I'd be seeing something different that made me feel safe. I would be effortlessly going down big flights of stairs. So for me, that was very this idea of two realities that exist on the same spatial grid, that I was able to interact with my physical surroundings and not bump against walls while perceiving a completely different environment in my dream state. This whole idea about the overlap between reality and fiction is a big part of my work. I've been interested in LARPing, Dungeons and Dragons, and text adventures. And then with the lockdown, I started to be more interested in using public space as a venue. So I started researching projects like geocaching, basically ways where you can perceive the public space around you in a different way. Like you're not moving from A to B in order to arrive somewhere, but you're really present in public space, and ways to reclaiming that. So there's a lot of secret languages out there, but people who, when you're looking for it, you're able to decode and find stuff, if that's tags or geocaching or other things like that. So what you can see here is a project that I've been working on in a collaboration last year. It's called EtherAxis. It's basically like a massive table, and my task was to turn this table into a game. So I wanted to look at the map of the table that basically represented 4 different realities or worlds, and think about what happens if I would overlay that with the city map. And the different fields of that table would correspond with different locations in public space around where the table was situated. So players would arrive at this gaming festival, and they would, through a web app, they would be able to locate 4 different locations. There was a true north compass, so they would be able to follow that with the meters going down. And there were different ways of having code words on those locations. Some were in geocaches, and some were in shop windows, stuff like that. And there were also 2 creature drag characters that were acting as beings from that world, which you can see in the corner. So here you can see one of the geocaches that I was using. So it was under the grid of a rain drain, and you had to lift it, and then inside was the code word, and in the app you will get instructions on how to find that. This was a different way of hiding hints and game elements in public space, basically hidden in plain sight. So you can see those white symbols, they were chalk spray. We came up with a cryptic language that, with the help of a dictionary in another web app, you would be able to decrypt it into a code word, and that you would be able to unlock this audio narrative that is speaking of that space, imagining it 20 years from now from the perspective of 3 different possible societies. That project was realized together with Liminal Vision. They're a research duo in Amsterdam that are working on ambi-utopias, utopias, dystopias, like what's in between. And in the corner you can see like a different puzzle there was a Bluetooth modem hidden in a mushroom, and you could connect to it when you get close enough. A lot of different ways that you can hide things in public space, gamify it without the handhaving police or the gemeente getting upset. So that leads me to my the main project I've been working on this year, where I also implemented LoRa and initially LoRa and like for the conference LoRa 1. It's called 868 megahertz. For this, you can see there are these little modules. They are magnetic and they can be placed in public space. Those had different, they had batteries inside of them. So again, with the help of a map in a web game, you would be able to navigate to those locations, tune them to the right number, and then you would unlock a dream log. So this project is very dear to me because the storyline is about a girl who's sleepwalking, but she's actually sleepwalking outside of her bed into the city streets. And on these 5 different locations of the game, those are the locations where she's been experiencing this creature. So in the storyline, the creature is basically the Internet of Things, like becoming a creature that she can actually see as a mutual. So she's able to have conversations with it, and she starts to develop a relationship with it. But as the dream logs go on, the relationship becomes more complicated because this creature is becoming more and more omnipresent in her daily life. It's not only in dreams, but she's starting to notice this creature in her waking life as well, trying to reach out to her through different smart devices, but then also going through following her home and going into the different social networks that she's using. What I found interesting in my research is that the smart city technology has a lot of things in common with escape games and alternate reality games. So I was working for a tiny bit at an escape room, and we were actually using an Internet of Things app to unlock some of the puzzles in the escape room, so lights or doors opening and things like that. And then I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy that this technology is so similar. And here you can see, like, for example, this smart app is applied in Enschede. It's this traveling app that, for example, if you have it in your pocket and you're cycling, the light will turn green for you to be faster. And on the right, you can see like those lockers where you can get your post package. So you get a code on your phone, you tap it in, and you get your package out. So when I was researching where the ideal of the mirror world was coming from, I came from the 90s, from Gelernte, to eventually I found this project of the early 2000s where it's this project from MIT that's called Project Oxygen, and it says like MIT wants to make computing as easy as breathing. And you can see all of these different elements that make this dream come true, basically. So in order to understand that better, I wanted to like see if I can make a game with that. So for me, the overlap between ubiquitous computing and ubiquitous gaming is quite obvious, because in a way it's like with both, you don't know where the boundaries of the game or the technology starts and stops. Like, it's so integrated and will be more integrated that at what point, I don't know if right now I'm being listened to or my steps are being weighed, or yeah, like the tracking, where the tracking starts, because every device has this, is mediated by the network. And that is that's a quite stressful place to be in. And I really like this image because it's basically from GTA. the video game. So what designers of game worlds usually do to hide the limitations of the map is to create a different reason for why players can't go there. So for example, in a war game, like there's going to be mines, so you can't actually reach behind that mountain. And here, the map is surrounded by water, and if the player keeps on swimming, eventually the shark will come and bite them, and the player will die. So they will have to get back, and they will become respawned. So I wanted to talk about the difference between manipulation and persuasion. So for example, I was talking to someone, I can't think of the name right now, who's working for the municipality in Enschede. And she was giving me this example, saying, like, for example, if you want to lose weight and you install an app where you get to walk around and collect apples or something, for example, that is persuasion because you know why you're doing it and it's playful. But manipulation is, for example, when it comes into territories like Pokemon Go, where you think that you're catching creatures. Well, you are, but there's this whole hidden underlying commercial layer of shops buying monthly subscriptions in order for their shop to be a location of the game. And like, for example, like in Enschede, they were already thinking about what are ways where we can like get people from busy squares to go somewhere else. And basically, I think this is where the gamifying of the public IoT becomes less fun and more scary. And I really appreciate the like the tinkering spirit, the transparency, and that kind of attitude to the Things Network. And that's why I hope that with the different applications that are going to be built, it's going to stay transparent, and it's going to allow people to easily make fun games themselves and have fun in public space and enjoy each other's ingenuity. So thanks a lot for listening. I think the bar is open now, they told me, so have a drink, and bye.
Thank you so much for that, Louisa. That was absolutely great. With your background, I'm curious what you think of augmented reality.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I talk about my projects, people always are like, oh, it's augmented reality. And in a way, the reason why I don't like to use VR or AR is because it's quite disconnecting. Right. And I like the fact that people are still able to interact with their surroundings and with people. They can do it in groups. And in VR, it's really like you see an expo and there's like one person with the headset, and they're in like a completely different world. And in AR, that's already a bit less, of course. Like you can see your environment and there's something augmented to it. But for me, the interesting thing is like if it's really something that's already there and I can use that in a game to just, with the story alone, it becomes something different. So.
Awesome. And another round of applause for Louisa. That was absolutely great. Thank you so much.